Okay, in an effort to actually get all of the eggs that was on the spawning map, I removed the spawning map from the pond because I, after, ended up extracting probably about 7 fries. Yeah, 7 goldfish fries from this pond. I realized that there were some amount of eggs on the spawning map, so I placed it into a different container. So the container, which is a bucket, right, had the map in it, right? This is it. Now, notice I place a mesh over it. This is primarily to prevent insects from laying eggs in it, such as fly and dragonfly. And no, this won't really protect it against mosquito. Mosquito can go through it, right? What I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be removing the spawning map, and you say probably a wash, yeah? I'll be removing the spawning map from this container, and I'll be placing it in this container, so as to check the container for possible flies that may exist within the space. Alright, so no more eggs are on it. Don't see any eggs. Wow, yeah, there's an egg. You see egg? Alright, the egg. Alright, so still more eggs on it. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna leave it for a few more days, and then I'm gonna check it to see if I actually get any fries. Right? Okay. Okay, so I remove the spawning map from the container and place it into a larger tub. Right? I realize that several eggs have not yet hatched. However, I realized something within the container that housed, or should I say, that I actually placed the spawning map in. And this is a whole bunch of tubiflex worm. Yeah, tubiflex worm, right? Now, tubiflex worm occurs as a result of a lot of nutrients within the water space, right? How did they reach on the spawning map? How did they reach in this space? Now, tubiflex worms, if you can easily create tubiflex worm with the use of fish feed. Now, within the fish pond in which I have them, right? Should I say I have the goldfish, right? I feed the goldfish practically every day. All right, there you can see some of the tubiflex worm on the side. Right, these are tubiflex worm. Right, tubiflex worm. There's thousands of them in here. Right, it's the water is messy, so even if I place the GoPro in it, probably you won't even see it, right? Because they are very fine. Now these tubiflex worm can be used to feed fish, right? However, right now they are like a bunch of annoyance. There's a huge bunch of tubiflex worm here. So this actually teaches me something regarding spawning map. Now you might have your spawning map within your aquarium or your pond, wanting to breed goldfish. Periodically you're gonna have to take out the spawning map and give it a thorough rinse. If you're gonna rinse it in chlorine water, you would practically place it into the sun to dry for a few days before you actually return it back to the space, right? So you want to wash out all the uneaten feed that might exist within it, and because there's a lot of uneaten feed in it, right? A lot of creatures actually, insects actually start to live within the spawning map itself. This is another insect, right? I'm not sure if it's water lice, but this thing, right? Another insect, right? And I had my spawning map within my goldfish pond for probably about for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks before they actually spawn. Now it's really difficult for you to predict sometimes when the goldfish will spawn. So you always have spawning maps in it so as to actually get the eggs as how I did it, right? However, getting the spawning map to be clean, that can be a really task. So it has to be routine, right? And yeah, it looks like water free, water lights are water free, right? So you have a whole bunch of them here, and you have the tubiflex worm, plus you have some mosquito larvae. The mosquito will lay eggs in between the spawning map strings, so the fish won't really get the mosquito larvae, and the mosquito will actually develop within that small space. So that's also another factor why you should actually wash your spawning map periodically. Although you might be a breeder, you'll be doing this thing for years, but this kind of help to ensure that, because these insects, these water flea or water lice or whatever you call it, they will actually eventually start to bite the fish unknowingly. Well, the fish will probably think it's nothing, just scratching itself on the side of the tub, right? And they will become a hazard if they have a lot of them, right? So the tubifex worm, whilst they might be eaten, right, they might be eaten by fish, but it's just an indicator that you have too much nutrients within the water space, and something needs to be done, right? I'll give you update on the goldfish eggs that I've actually still been watching. Goldfish eggs take about roughly between 3 to 7 days to actually hatch. So the early hatchers have been caught. I think I have probably about 7 of them, and by counting out the eggs, probably about another 10 on the spawning map. So I am just waiting to see what happens. Thank you for stopping by, guys. Have a wonderful day. Peace out. Catch you next time.